Greetings, Ashen here. Today I'm going to be doing a horror movie review of No One Gets Out Alive. This is from a director named Santiago, and let me tell you, this guy's a great director. You want to keep an eye on him. This is really where horror needs to go. It's really brutal and incredible. So, I don't want to spoil too much for you in this review, so I'm going to give you a broad overview of the whole story. I'm going to be leaving a lot of stuff out. So if you do watch this review, there's going to be a lot left for you to chew on if you decide to go and watch this film afterwards. Let's get into the story. This is Amber. She is an illegal immigrant. She just came into the country. Her mom just passed recently. She was taking care of her, but now she's trying to live her own life, come over here and take care of herself. So the first thing she does is find work and find a room and board. So she goes to a place that only houses women. It takes women in with no questions asked, sort of a protective house, I guess, for people who are down on their luck or need to get out of a bad situation. This is Red. He seems like a pretty good guy. Of course, the whole place is run down, but, he's doing what he can with the money he's got and taking all these women in. We go from there. She goes into a bit of a dream, and her mother is stroking her hair. This is one of the last fond memories that Amber has with her mother. And we see next that she's doing her work, which is at a factory. She's doing sewing and packing and all this behind the scenes stuff. Really, in all this, we're sort of just establishing her life at the moment. This is, of course, probably temporary for her, because one of the big draws, one of the big reasons she came to America was because here her cousin said that she could have a job. Of course, one of the stipulations was that she's an American citizen, because her cousin, did everything he needed to do to come over to America, built his life, came up from nothing, got in through the proper channels. Now he has a family and he's a good businessman, and he's going to hook her up. But little does he know she doesn't have an ID or anything like that, which is kind of a big deal for this job. As you could see here, though, Amber's with her friend, and her friend's like, yeah, I got a guy who he works with the IDs and everything like that, and all this money you have left, just this last little bit you have left, if you give it to me, what we'll do is I'll go and get everything made, and tomorrow at work I will go ahead and hook you up, and you can go ahead and start living your dream life. And when that happens, please try to help me. So, Amber's elated knowing that this nightmare's almost over. She's going to be established, even if it's not necessarily legal. She's going to get a foothold here in America and start making something of herself. But that's when the specter of her mother shows up. Yes, she's walking back to her domicile, and as you could see, the mother is sort of looming in the background. And then she gets back, and you could see Becker here, the brother. He's acting really strange. She hardly ever sees him, but right now he's sort of praying at the door that leads to the basement and beating his head against it, acting really strange. So she kind of nopes out on that and heads to the kitchen. As you could see, some more women have joined the company, came into the building. Once again, no questions asked or anything like that. And Red is grateful for all this because, with these women coming in, even though it's not giving him too much money, it's enough to start fixing up things. So Amber starts to wander around a little bit, and she heads into the common room, I guess, the sort of the living room area for the downstairs. And all this crazy Aztec stuff is around, and you could see bits and pieces of the family history of these two brothers. And as you can see, there's this really neat Aztec sword up there. After this, she heads back to her room, and what could best be described as a haunting happens. As you can see here, this horrible specter. Then, aside from this thing looking at her, bumps and screams happen all over the room, reenacting some form of violence, and she gets terrified because of this. And after the event passes, she calls her cousin and asks to be picked up because this place doesn't seem safe anymore. Whatever's going on here, even though Red seems nice, just too many strange things, and she needs to be picked up. But the cousin's not in town right now, so she's going to have to buy some time until he can come back. She goes out and hangs out and goes to her job. She wants to get her ID so that way she could get all this handled. But at her job, even though she stayed out all night and stayed safe, the boss tells her that her friend took off. She's gone. She quit. Actually, that morning before anyone else came in, she quit and she left the area, said she had to go somewhere. So Amber is out all of her money. She has nowhere to go. So who does she call? She calls on Red. She needs the advance that she gave to Red for the room. She gave like a month advance on the room, and she needs it back because she's only really been there like 2 days, and the place is too scary. So they're talking at a diner about all this, and he says, yeah, you know, that's fine. It's gonna hurt, but it's fine. Just come back, and I'll bring it to you in your room. However, oh man, when they get back, the brother is waiting for her. So she sort of fell for the trap. You know, he terrorizes her, tries to get her to drink some liquid and stuff, and then locks her in the room. It's at this point, though, when she's just freshly locked away, that the cousin shows up. And the cousin's like, hey, have you seen Amber? I'm looking all over the place for her. And this is where she said she was at. There's no doubt about it. Can you please try and get her for me? They say, no. They're acting really suspicious. You know, the brother's shaken because of everything that's going on. However, the cousin doesn't believe them, barges into the house, and, well, he meets with a cruel fate at the hands of the large, hulking brother. So as you can see here, not only has Amber been taken hostage, but the other people who have stayed in the place are also hostages now. He's taking them out one at a time, and they don't come back. You just hear some screams, and then it's over, right? And now it's time for Amber to go. So he picks her up and starts carrying her downstairs, down to the basement. As you can see here, though, the spirits of all the dead women, all the people that have suffered in here and passed on, they're all staring at her. They all know that she is next. And then we finally get to the basement. The big reveal, this whole crazy altar to this Aztec box has been set up. This is, of course, stuff that's been alluded to throughout the story, but I'm keeping it brief. So, you know, if you're like, well, this seems like it's out of left field. Yeah, it's actually been throughout the story, but I'm trying to just streamline it for you. So she is, she's tied down. The brother leaves. He says, you should be grateful for what's going to be happening to you. You should be honored. And we get to actually see the box. You see the outside of it here. We zoom in, and it seems, even though this is just a box, it seems to go on for infinity, inward, like a dimensional portal of some sort. And you can see all these Aztec engravings all over it. And then where does that lead? It leads inward. It leads to the mother. So it's almost as if whatever's in this box has been manifesting as the mother to sort of keep her and lure her in for whatever this purpose is that it wants. Now, even though she's been pushed back into her own mind by the psionic powers of this thing that dwells in this other dimension and comes through the box, you can see here it is coming out, manifesting into reality. Now, what I'm not going to do is show you this creature. The reason I'm not going to do that is because, once again, I don't want to spoil this movie for you. I'm giving you an overview of it. However, what I will show you is the creature from The Ritual. Now, look at this thing. If you have not seen The Ritual, the creature in it is insane. It works so well. It's very Lovecraftian in nature. So this creature here, once again, it's a separate movie, but if you think this kind of thing looks cool, you're gonna love what they do with the thing in this film. So she has been put into her dream. Her mother is trying to coddle her, which is actually this thing trying to coddle her. So she gives in and gives herself to the creature. But in her mind, she fights back and she smothers her mother. Smothers her! Which is actually indeed the creature. And when she wakes up, she's free, and she's right by the box as if she has closed it. And then she goes into the study. And in the study, she finds the Aztec sword and knows what she has to do. So she shows up to the room and smashes Red in the face with this, knocking him out. This powerful hunk of a sword with like little blades all in it. And then she attacks the brother. She whacks him and saws his arm with this crazy sword. But easily overpowers her because he's a huge, massive dude. He throws her to the ground and stomps on her leg, completely breaking her ankle into pieces. But at that moment, one of the other hostages takes off. She runs, but he gets her and does the only thing he knows to do with her now, which is throw her down the middle of the stairwell. And she falls to her death, splattering many stories down. It's at this point that the brother asserts himself, dragging Amber out of the room and choking her, starting to kill her so that way none of these dark secrets can get out. And that's where I'm going to leave the story off. There is more story to this, but once again, I'm leaving you on a bit of a cliffhanger because I want you to go watch this movie. There's a lot of great things in here. I've left so many things out of this movie, and you're going to want to see it all. This director is masterful, and this movie holds together super well. The whole thing makes you feel uncomfortable when you're watching it from the first to the last frame. And even though there's a lot of aspects of people's lives and their choices and all this kind of stuff, it's not the type of film that's rubbing a particular ideology or message in your face. It's just people that are desperate in desperate circumstances, and it all leads to a head at the very end. So I highly recommend this film. If you love horror, then this guy's like one of the next levels of horror. I'm telling you, it's like the director who did The Void. This guy is also right on that level. If you like Baskin, this director is also on that level. And he just does absolutely amazing things. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this satisfied you and tantalized you enough to actually go and watch this film because it really deserves your attention on Netflix. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Yes,